Hello everyone, it's me, Madison, the Sidereal Maven. I am a Sidereal astrologer and tarot reader, and today I'm going to be telling you all about your sidereal moon sign, and I'm going to be doing all 12 signs, Aries through Pisces. So if this is something that interests you, please stick around. So, what is a moon sign and why should you care? Well, the moon is one of the most intimate personal placements in your birth chart, and this is because the moon represents the way that we come to experience our emotions, the way that we process them, the way we come to understand them, the stories we tell ourselves about what our emotions mean, and the actions that we take to deal with those emotions or as a result of those emotions. And then the moon also represents your physical body, the way that you relate to your physical body, to your own health, to your appearance. And of course, most especially, the moon represents your relationship to your mother. And for most of us, this is our biological mother, but it could also be an adopted mother, a female guardian that has taken over your care. Sometimes if you are raised by a single dad, usually dads are sun sign, but if you have a single dad, sometimes it can show up as your moon sign as well. But that is chart dependent. When we engage with other people, we are engaging with their moon sign whether we realize it or not. And there are some people who wear their moon sign directly on their sleeve for everyone to see. For example, if you have moon in the first house or in the 10th house, then people are always perceiving the way that you're feeling because it's being expressed through your body language and through your facial expressions, whether you're intentionally putting out there or not. And then there are some people whose moon sign is a little bit more hidden. For example, if you have moon in the 8th house or the 12th house, then it can be so much harder to understand how that person is feeling because they can have like a very guarded mask or face that they put on for the world. So you kind of have to like directly ask those people how they were feeling because it's not going to be immediately obvious. So moon sign knowledge is super helpful regardless of what type of relationship you are looking at. But it definitely lends itself to like deeper connections, such as that with family members, with romantic partners, with deep friendships, and it'd be really helpful to know someone's moon sign. And even if you aren't looking at a relationship, I think that learning your own moon sign is probably the most important placement for you to kind of dive into, because learning how to acknowledge and process your emotions is like one of the biggest lessons in life that we all have to learn. So without further ado, let's get into it. If you are someone who has the moon in sidereal Aries, then you are someone who views your emotions as challenges that you must overcome, which leads you to feeling like you are constantly at war with yourself and sometimes maybe even the world around you as a whole. But really, it's like your own feelings are obstacles to your goals, to your ambitions, to connection. And that can be really frustrating and really exhausting because you process your emotions by confronting them head on. You pretty much, unless your moon is afflicted in some way, like you know how you feel about something pretty much immediately in that moment. It's clear, it's concise, and you want to act on that feeling immediately. You don't want to wait, you don't want it to be drawn out. You are someone who especially hates when conflict is drawn out unnecessarily. You want to address the problem so that you can get over it and move on and be happy again. You really hate beating around the bush, and when people are telling you that they need more time to think about stuff, you're like, I can't think, I gotta do it now. If I stop to think about it, we could all change our minds. And listen, it's okay. It's okay, Aries, to slow down, because sometimes that immediate action, that immediate thought doesn't need to be said, doesn't need to be shared, doesn't need to be done. And the older you get, the easier this will become for you. But especially in your youth, your teenage years, your early 20s, you have the potential to just pop the frick off. And sometimes that benefits you, and sometimes it gets you in trouble. And I know you know what I mean. Instead of popping off, my recommendation is to get a regular exercise routine. Aries, more than any other moon sign, needs exercise to process all of that extra energy that you got going on, because you got a lot of it, okay? So find a sport, find an activity, a hobby. Even if you're just someone who likes to take a walk with your dog, like find something to do and do that thing instead of popping off. And then by the time you're done and you're calmed down, you will feel so much clearer and so much better about whatever it was. You may decide it doesn't even bother you anymore. It's not that big of a deal. So much conflict can be avoided for you this way. Also, find a way to develop some patience. There are certain sorts of hobbies that can help you learn patience and self-discipline. And I would go and look at the placement of your Mars sign and consider what types of hobbies are associated with that Mars sign and start practicing something like that, because that is really going to help you get a handle on those emotional outbursts. And also, Aries moons, I will recommend that you find a venting partner that can handle your sass, your sarcasm, and your tendency to curse like a sailor when you are stressed out and pissed off. Because the reality is that Aries moon's emotions can be, boom, super explosive, and not everyone has the sauce to handle this. It's not a judgment. There's nothing wrong with you, Aries, and there's nothing wrong with other people who have decided, like, I just can't do that. What you need is someone who can match that energy and who can hold that space for you, because venting is also a thing that is going to help you calm down and relax when you're feeling stressed. I would also recommend dancing. Like, Aries moons, whether it's dancing or crafting, actually, whatever your hobby is, if you are feeling overstimulated, getting some alone time by yourself is kind of crucial to your mental health. You're definitely someone who needs lots of alone time to focus on your projects to kind of calm down and feel centered in your emotions. Constantly going like balls to the wall, working constantly, like, you need a day off. You need some day off. Engage your inner child. Find a way to play, to relax, to have fun, and that is going to kind of revive you and rejuvenate you and get you ready back for your workday. That is what I've got for Aries moon. If you would like to hear more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you are someone who has the moon in Sidereal Taurus, then you are someone who views your emotions as an opportunity to connect with others and foster belonging, which is to say your emotions are a little bit of a group project. Anytime you are super upset or you're super excited, you're super happy, the first thing you want to do is call up your friends, call up your sister, call your mom, and share the good news or have a good vent session. Perhaps maybe your favorite thing to do is meet up at your favorite restaurants and gossip over some tea, some chips and salsa, whatever it is that gets you going. Taurus wants to vent, they want to communicate, they want to talk together, and they also want to indulge in pleasures with other people. Like, they want to do like a group crafting session, or they want to go to a pottery class together, or they want to have a spa day with their bestie. Like, Taurus is like, okay, let's find a way to connect on this, to share this together, to deal with it together, because sharing is caring, and everything is so much easier to deal with when you have a like-minded person who shares your beliefs, who shares your values, who shares the things that you find comforting, and can participate in that with you and kind of help lift the burden of whatever that big, heavy feeling is. However, if you are a Taurus moon that is perhaps in the 8th house or the 12th house or one of these more secretive houses, you may be someone that is like, okay, I just need to curl up on the couch and rewatch my show for the 12th time while I eat my favorite food. No one talk to me, or else, or else speak to me at your own risk, you know? And Taurus really takes comfort in familiarity. So if you were feeling stressed out and overstimulated, Taurus, like the favorite TV show, the favorite food, the favorite place to go, the favorite restaurant, like that really is going to make you feel like centered and calm and back in touch with yourself. And if for some reason these sorts of things aren't working, like if you are at peak burnouts and being around other people is just too much, I highly recommend you pick up that art project that you abandoned. And you know what I'm talking about, okay? I know you do. Whether it's some sort of like fashion thing you're working on, you've got a painting, you've got some sort of creative thing that is going to really rejuvenate and revive you. And I promise you, if you spend a couple of hours, a couple of days with that, you're going to feel so much better, so much more in tune with how you feel and who you are and what you want. There is also like a way that for Taurus specifically, something that you will resist but is going to help you a lot is getting out of your comfort zone. And I know I just said getting and nuzzling into your comfort zone is going to make you feel grounded, but there are going to be some cases in your life, in which that just doesn't work and it makes you feel more stuck. So if you were always used to watching one show, go watch something you never thought that you would watch. If you always go to this one place and it's just not hitting anymore, go somewhere new. Like, the biggest thing that holds you back sometimes is your unwillingness to try new things and to put yourself out there and have new experiences. But that is actually the key to you getting unstuck and put on a new path that is going to facilitate your growth and your emotional development and help you learn new ways of processing your emotions that you maybe didn't know existed or didn't know would work for you. And yeah, that's what I got for Taurus moon. So if you would like to hear more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you are someone who has moon in Sidereal Gemini, then your emotions are seen as like wordless incoming data that needs to be intellectualized before it can truly be understood. Which is to say, you are someone who is going to overthink your feelings, overanalyze them, and spend a lot of time trying to find the exact right words to describe the way that you feel before you're ready to open up about it. In fact, I think a really good example of Gemini moon is Taylor Swift, because she has moon conjunct Jupiter in Gemini, and anytime she's having a big, strong, gigantic emotion, the first thing she's going to do is sit down and write a poem about it, and then she's going to write another poem, and then another poem, and then another poem. And so Gemini moons are the type of people who can really benefit from journaling, writing out their emotions in order to understand the way that they feel, because until they're able to get those words down and able to find like the exact descriptor of what they're feeling, they can feel super overwhelmed and overstimulated and even have a tendency to kind of push people away and shut down and not want to speak until they can find that exact right wording that makes them feel like they are articulating things correctly so that they can avoid being misunderstood or misinterpreted, because that is perhaps one of their biggest fears, is for them to share their feelings and then someone else to tell them that they're wrong or that their feelings were made up or based on an untruth or a lack of facts, you know. So Gemini is only sharing their feelings when they feel correct about their feelings, and when they do, they want to be smart about it, they want to be knowledgeable, and they want to back up their feelings with facts. So Gemini processes their emotions by thinking, analyzing, writing, and speaking, which is why they can really benefit from having a close group of friends that will gossip with them and let them get all of their feelings out, no judgment, no shade, and just let them tell it the way that it is, but also like let them tell the same story over and over again until they finally reach their own conclusions about it. But they need a close group of friends that is going to kind of like help them remember how to laugh and have fun instead of getting like bogged down by their harsher emotions. I will also recommend for Gemini moons that they get some sort of craft or hobby they can do solo, alone, without any input from other people. Kind of similar to Aries, having a lot of alone time to work on that craft or to do that exercise is really going to help ground and center them and make them feel more in tune with their body and the way that they feel. One of the biggest downsides to Gemini moons is that there can be this sort of distance between them and the way that they feel when they are working to intellectualize the way that they're feeling. Sometimes they kind of like, instead of just feeling it in their chest, they take the feeling out and they look at it and they're like, oh, what is this? What is this? What is this? What is the best word to describe this? And in the process of doing all of that, they sometimes forget to actually feel the feeling. And the biggest downside to this is sometimes if that feeling is hunger, they will forget to eat. Gemini, go eat something. I bet you forgot. You were so busy and so focused on your projects or your work or whatever you're excited about that it's so easy for you to forget how to take care of your body. So make sure to make time for that. I will say that out of all of the moon signs, I think Gemini benefits from like talk therapy the most. You just need to talk about it. You just need to talk. You need to yap. You need to gossip. You need to vent. You need to get it out of there. So find some trusted partners and friends and just let it out. Okay? That's what I got for Gemini moon. If you would like to hear more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you have moon in Sidereal Cancer, then you view your emotions as the language of the body. And for moon in Cancer, you are the most fluent in this language out of everyone, which is to say that you are super attuned with your own emotions. They are present, they are visceral, they are real, and there can be little difference between your emotions and your sense of self, which is to say, if you are angry, then you're then you may feel like you are an angry person. If you are feeling sad, then you may be like, oh, I'm such a sad person. So Cancer Moon really has to do some work to kind of discern, like, this is who I am, and then this is how I'm feeling, and these are two separate things. And to not get overwhelmed by their feelings because they are so visceral, because the reality is that the feeling is going to pass. And the older Cancer gets, the better that they are going to be at regulating and processing these emotions. But when you are younger, it can sometimes feel like that emotion is so overwhelming. You're like, who even am I anymore? Calm down. Okay, the emotion will pass, but you will still be here and it will be okay, Cancer, all right? That being said, Cancer is very good at sitting with the emotion and doing the work to understand the underlying need that is causing that emotion. For example, say you are in the middle of your shift at work and you're starting to feel super irritable, super stressed, but there isn't like an external factor causing that. You are someone who's like, okay, wait, let me calm down. Let me think. What have I eaten today? Have I taken my medicine? Am I getting enough water? Only to realize like the reason you're irritated is because you haven't taken care of something that you need. And so this does make Cancer an expert at recognizing this in other people. So Cancer is one of the first people to be like, that person needs a nap. That person needs to go on their lunch break, you know, and helping other people get to the bottom of their feelings and why they feel the way that they feel. Especially when Cancer encounters someone who maybe an air sign or an earth sign who like holds their emotions out here or over here and is like, emotions are real, who cares? Cancer's like, that emotion you're ignoring is driving all of your behavior. Please acknowledge it before you drive all of us insane. So it's great to have a Cancer on hand with any team building effort, because they are just so emotionally attuned, both to themselves and other people, and they can kind of be the calm grounding center in a group or within a family structure. They are also very good at finding ways to soothe and to comfort difficult emotions. So they understand that sometimes when you're stressed out, you just need a snack. Sometimes you just need to go and exercise for a bit. Sometimes you need some alone time. You know, sometimes you just need to go get your hair done. So my advice for Cancer Moons is learn how to cook. Even if you don't like cooking, learning how to cook and cooking your own food can be so soothing and meditative for Cancer because, first of all, you love eating. Why wouldn't you want to cook your favorite foods? This is going to give you a sense of control and a sense of empowerment to go through that process. And if you are like really into it, I would even recommend like growing your own herbs or your own fruits and vegetables, because the process of having raised something and then sustaining yourself with it through your own cooking is going to be super satisfying for Cancer. And I also recommend having pets or plants, because the act of taking care of the pet or the plant is going to remind you to take care of yourself. And so having this system of care is going to like ground you and center you and make you feel like more present in your life and in your body. And of course, for Cancer, you always want to have a super strong home base. Cancer Moon is not the type of person that needs to be traveling every other day. Like, you are someone who needs like a strong home and bedroom that you can return to make yourself feel safe and secure and comforted. So that's what I got for Cancer Moon. If you would like to know more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you are someone who has Moon in Sidereal Leo, then you view your emotions as direct extensions of yourself and therefore take them very, very seriously. So you're someone who needs to process your emotions by expressing them directly, perhaps even dramatically acting them out in some sort of way. This is the Moon sign that belongs to the actors, the dancers, the musicians, the singers. Like, these are the people who need to embody that feeling, and you know, they gotta let it out. They can't just calmly feel their feelings because it just doesn't feel right. Leo moons are always kind of fun to be around because they are going 100 on everything. And this is the best way that Leo knows how to acknowledge and validate their own feelings. Like, it's very hard for them to internalize something unless they externalize it. And so this act of acting the emotion out or expressing it through this artistic medium allows them to kind of validate their own emotional world and be like, yes, my feeling is real and it is impacting me, it's impacting you, it's impacting us. Like, they need it to be out there in the world to feel like calm and secure again. That being said, I highly recommend Leo gets into some sort of artistic expression. Even if you're like not into the artsy fartsy stuff, then I would otherwise suggest getting into athletics, because Leo moons can also be secretly, not so secretly, super competitive. They like the recognition, they like the acknowledgement, they like the validation. They need like the compliments and the praise. Like they need to feel wanted and seen and desired and loved for who they are, even when they're having big emotions, even when they're having strong feelings that they don't know how to deal with, even when they're having bad days. Like they need someone that is going to be like, I see you and I feel you and you're okay and perfect just the way that you are. And the thing about Leo moons is that they can be like deep down there, like so sweet and kind and compassionate. They can sometimes like put up a front of, no, I'm tough and I'm cool and I don't need you or them or anything. And really deep down they're like, please can I have a hug? So hug Leo moon today, they need it. The downside of Leo moon is that sometimes you can almost invalidate your own feelings if they are not approved of by other people, especially like female figures, mother figures, female bosses. Like there is a strong need to impress them and to achieve some sort of accomplishment that will gain their approval. And there can be this like really strong desire to please authority figures in your life. And the older you get, the less that this is going to work for you. It's just the way it is. It's part of growing up, Leo, is that you're going to have to learn how to validate yourself and be the authority on your own emotions. So stop letting someone tell you how you should feel or what the right thing to feel is or how your emotions should be processed. And instead ask yourself, how do I want to express this? How do I really feel? What is right to me? And act on that and be your own inner authority and your own God. Because the reality is that you are your own person. You're not an extension of someone else. And you don't have to reflect them, and you don't have to reflect their emotions back to you in order to be seen and to be loved. That's what I got for Leo. If you would like to hear more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you are someone who has moon in Sidereal Virgo, then you are someone who views emotions as wordless incoming data that needs to be categorized and then resolved, which is to say that you are a super logical, rational, reasonable person. And when you are confronted with a really big emotion, you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I did not ask for any of that. What am I supposed to do with it? And so you take your emotion and you're like, okay, how do I organize this into an Excel sheet? I'm so sorry, Virgo. Sometimes emotions cannot be organized into Excel sheets. It's similar to Gemini. It can be super helpful for you to intellectualize your emotions, to put words to them. But unlike Gemini, you are looking at that feeling as a problem that needs to be solved, something that needs to be fixed. Which is stressful, okay? To constantly view your body and your emotions as something that needs to be fixed. I don't know if you know this, Virgo, but you don't need to be fixed. And emotions are not problems that have to be dealt with and squared away. You're allowed to feel them and process them, and it doesn't make you crazy, and it doesn't make you bad, and it doesn't make you unreasonable. But also, every now and then, as human beings, we are allowed and afforded unreasonable, illogical moments. And it's okay to have a moment where the way that you feel doesn't make sense. That being said, you're someone who also kind of views your body like a machine. And you're like, as long as I give this body 3 meals a day, exactly 60 ounces of water, and this supplement, and this vitamin, and this medication, then my body should be working perfectly. And if it's not, then I need to figure that out. And I need to find the exact right thing that's going to make it work properly. And sometimes this works for you, Virgo, okay? You're really good with your routines and your schedules and your meal planning and prepping and getting ahead of the game. But sometimes these same structures and systems that you create to keep yourself regular can also block you in and keep you from recognizing the way that you are keeping yourself stuck. And also it can keep you from like actually acknowledging the way that you truly feel. Like it can almost be a defense mechanism against any big, large feeling that you deem as not worth your time. So my advice to you, Virgo, is to step outside of your comfort zone sometimes, to acknowledge that having a big feeling or having like a need within your body that you don't immediately know how to fix or deal with isn't necessarily a sign that something is wrong with you or that you're a failure. Okay, there's no test. You don't have to pass by having the right emotion or dealing with it in a perfect way. You are allowed to have imperfect, messy emotions and messy personal experiences that other people don't like or won't approve of or will think is silly. It's okay to be silly, okay? And also, Virgo moons can really benefit from activities that take them outside. So, Virgo moon, you need a garden, you need a balcony, you need some plants, and you need to be taking walks regularly. You are an earth sign. You cannot sit on your computer and scroll all day. Please go outside. Please, Virgo. And you can also super benefit from having pets. Virgo, especially, is a pet type of sign. You are someone who enjoys caretaking, but sometimes forgets to take care of yourself. And so when you have a plant or an animal or someone else that you are caring for, it reminds you to care for yourself. And unfortunately, sometimes you do need that reminder because you view yourself as, I'm the robot and I take care of this thing. And it's like, actually, you're a human. You all got to take care of each other. If you can make it a group project, and that's what you need to remind yourself that you're a human being, go ahead. And also, Virgo can really benefit from like journaling and writing. They can be super intellectual with their feelings again. And also, like, repetitive tasks will help you meditate and get your mind centered when you feel overstimulated and overwhelmed. So like crochet or knitting or different like craft projects. For some reason, I'm thinking like woodworking or like mechanics, even tech stuff. If you are really into the Excel sheet, not holding it against you, sometimes just organizing and color coding Excel sheet can be super calming for Virgo. So that's what I got for Virgo moon. If you would like to hear more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you have moon in Sidereal Libra, then your emotions are seen as disruptions to your inner peace that you are actively trying to cultivate. And let's be honest, this is because everyone else is always fighting and screaming and bitching and moaning. And Libra is like, oh my God, shut up already. The only safe space for Libra sometimes is inside their own minds. And so they want their own inner world to be as peaceful and calm and collected as possible. So when they have a big feeling that is messy and illogical that they don't know how to deal with, they're like, ew, I don't want this. You know, like they don't want to process their feelings if they are disruptive to them. And they will objectively consider, like, is this emotion even useful to me? Because if not, I'm just going to box it up and shove it away. And if it is useful to me, then maybe I will pull it out and use it to get something done. Otherwise, it's a waste of my time. And they will intellectualize those feelings. They will constantly argue with themselves, like, is my feeling even justified? Am I justified in feeling this way? Would it be justified for me to express it, to feel it out loud, to act upon it? I don't know, Libra. I think, Libra, you're a human being and you need to let your feelings be what they are. You need to feel them in your chest and express them sometimes, because otherwise they're just bottling up inside of you. And one day the wrong person is going to say the wrong thing to you and you're just going to snap, or you were going to walk away, you were going to leave, you were going to burn a bridge that you could have just walked away from quietly a while ago if you would just acknowledge that it wasn't working for you and confronted the fact that whatever wasn't working, sure, it's not convenient to have to acknowledge that, but sometimes feelings aren't convenient. Sometimes they're messy, sometimes they're gross, and that's just part of being a human being. Also, Sidereal Libra tends to focus on the positive and want to let the negative emotions go. However, they do best when they allow both their positive and their negative feelings to coexist peacefully and accept that there are going to be a lot of shades of gray in between the good and the bad. Just like with their morals and their principles, you want everything to be clearly good or clearly bad or clearly right and clearly wrong. And it just kind of doesn't work that way. So when you embrace these shades of gray and the lack of an answer, sometimes that will actually just help you calm down. And also, you need to acknowledge, Libra, that sometimes people come to you with their problems and they want you to solve them. And that's not your responsibility. You don't have to. You don't have to do it. You don't have to play mediator. You don't have to get involved in other people's personal problems if you don't want to. But at the same time, if you constantly refuse to engage in anyone else's emotional world, you can't expect anyone to want to engage in yours either. So try to find a balance and some boundaries that allow you to connect with people without overdoing it. My advice for Libra Moon is to find some sort of artistic, creative project that you enjoy, because this is going to really help you calm down and meditate and ground and center yourself when world is overwhelming, like drawing, painting, fashion. Like find a thing that, ooh, interior design actually. Libra moons will redecorate their entire room or house when they're feeling upset. They just need to see a different space, something different going on, and they're like, okay, actually this is more balanced. And yeah, that's what I got for Libra Moon. If you would like to hear more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you are someone who has Moon in Sidereal Scorpio, then you are someone who views your emotions as inner demons that need to be exercised, or perhaps just tamed and befriended. The thing with Scorpio Moon is that, similar to Aries, you often feel like you are at war with yourself because of the way that you feel. And it is because you often feel differently than the way other people have told you that you should feel, or the way that they expect you to feel, or the way that society or culture has deemed appropriate to feel. And instead, your feelings are big and loud and illogical and messy and inappropriate and strange. And so just by acknowledging your feelings and expressing your feelings, it can lead you to feel very alienated and like you don't belong and like you will never meet anyone that relates to you or understands you. And the truth is, this is not true. You will find your people and you will find your place in the world, but it does take Scorpio Moon a lot longer because they have to go on this journey to accept their emotions and their feelings and their inner demons as they are, and learn how to love themselves for who they are, and learn how to embrace their emotional differences and live them out loud authentically without apologizing or toning it down or fixing it so other people feel more comfortable with themselves. The truth is, Scorpio Moon, you're always going to make other people uncomfortable, and it's actually kind of a superpower because you say the quiet parts out loud that everyone else is afraid to acknowledge, and this can change the tides of a room, of a culture, of a people. And so it is very important for you to gather up the courage to be yourself anyway, and to live your emotions out loud without approval, without needing validation from other people. So that being said, Scorpio Moon often wants to self-isolate to deal with their feelings. This is the type of friend that is going to disappear for 3 days to a week at a time and not text you back. And this can be quite stressful to the people in Scorpio's life, but it is how Scorpio learns how to deal with themselves. Scorpio can also really benefit from doing different artistic hobbies and crafts, but especially music. Scorpio, if they have like that perfect playlist, that will put them back on track for a while. Sometimes they just need to sit and mope with their playlist. But also, if you were a Scorpio Moon, then I recommend picking up an instrument yourself, or singing and dancing and like finding a way to physically embody whatever that feeling is so that you can process it and move on from it. I also recommend for Scorpio Moons, when you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed, if you like to go swimming, or if you like water aerobics, or something that gets you in or near a body of water, can sometimes be super calming. Like just sitting on the beach and listening to the tides like this can center Scorpio in a way that nothing else can. And the other thing with Scorpio Moons is when they're feeling a way about anything, they do not want to gossip with a large group of people. They don't want to go out with a large group of people. Instead, they need like one true ride or die friend that truly gets them and understands them no matter what. And they probably are more likely to want a night in with their bestie or their partner that they can trust to always have their back and to carry them through anything in life. So yeah, that's what I got for Scorpio Moon. If you would like to hear more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you have Moon in Sidereal Sagittarius, then you view your emotions as puzzles that, once solved, will provide you with divine clarity and understanding of the truth of your life and the world and where you belong. And if you remember my previous Sagittarius videos for Sagittarius Sun and Rising, you will remember that I said that Sagittarius is either super spiritual, super religious, or super political, and sometimes all three. So when you put the Moon in Sagittarius, they are experiencing and processing and interpreting their emotions through the lens of their beliefs, their convictions, and their spirituality. For example, if you have a Sagittarius that is very passionate about animal rights, then they are someone who's going to adopt a vegan diet to express this conviction through their physical body. And they are also someone who is likely to get tattoos that represent their belief system, or that represent a divine spiritual experience that they've had in their life. And they are someone who is looking to these cultural narratives to understand what the meanings of their feelings are, Like, it's not enough to just be mad. They're like, what does it mean that I'm mad about this? And what does it say about me and society and culture that I'm angry about this thing? Like, they're going to sit and analyze that feeling and look to interpret it through different things. And they're also very clued into like pattern recognition. So they're going to be asking themselves, okay, I always feel good when this happens, or I always feel bad when that happens. What does it mean? What does it mean? And they're also like looking to storytelling to provide meaning to their feelings and to their emotions and to help them process it. So Sidereal Sagittarius Moon is someone who has a favorite movie, a favorite book, or like a favorite story that makes them feel seen and heard and acknowledged and validated, and is going to speak to their convictions and their experiences. And the downside of Sagittarius Moon is that sometimes they can be so strict with following that doctrine or that belief system that it can be very difficult for them to realize that the belief system is actually kind of like creating a cage around them or creating a blockage. And so Sagittarius Moon, if you are feeling emotionally constipated, or you are feeling stuck in life, or like you just can't move on from something, there is probably something in your belief system or something in your convictions and your values that needs to be reassessed. And something that can help you, if you're not sure what it is to pick yourself up and put yourself in a new experience. Because again, Sagittarius is looking for the pattern recognition, and sometimes the pattern is so familiar and so repetitive that you're not even acknowledging what it is anymore. And if you put yourself in a new experience, it will allow you to look back behind you and be like, oh, that's what I was doing. That's why I was seeing things that way. And sometimes that's all you really need is a change of perspective. And so it can also really help you to talk to other people who have different life experiences than you, and really like get outside of your own brain space, because it can keep you stuck sometimes. Sagittarius Moon can also really benefit from athletics and athleticism. They can get kind of competitive with it, and that's cool. But also like writing stories, telling stories, movies, books, autobiographies. Sagittarius Moons love autobiographies and documentaries, and also traveling. Sagittarius, sometimes you gotta just pick yourself up and put yourself in a new situation. And taking the time to learn about like different cultures and religions and belief systems is really going to help round you out emotionally, so that you can learn that there are other ways of dealing with your feelings and interpreting your feelings than you may have originally been taught. So yeah, Sagittarius, you need to discover, you need to explore, and you need to get out of your comfort zone more often and read more books. Yeah, that's what I got for Sagittarius Moon. So if you would like to hear more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you have Moon in Sidereal Capricorn, then you are someone who sees your emotions as a burden that must be dealt with the greatest reluctance. And therefore, Capricorn Moons tend to put off dealing with their emotions altogether to focus on more practical matters, like their job or their work, or God forbid, they would rather do chores than think about how they feel. Capricorn Moon feels good when they see progress. And so they're much more likely to focus on something that they have control over and that they can build and add to and contribute to, rather than focusing on whatever that feeling is. In fact, they are likely to deny that they have any feelings at all because it just feels like too much. Why bother? Especially if Capricorn feels like they can't do anything about the feeling, that acknowledging the feeling won't change anything. They're like, what is even the point of having the feeling? Let's just deny that it even exists. And it only really makes the situation worse, Capricorn. I'm so sorry. I hate to break it to you, but acknowledging the feeling and processing it and letting yourself feel it is going to help you move on faster than completely denying it exists in the first place. It's true. So it should make sense to you that Capricorn Moon is someone who likes to process their emotions in solitude in resourceful and pragmatic manner. So this is someone who's going to go work quietly alone so that they can deal with it. They want to sit on the couch alone to deal with it. You know, they are not really the gossipy type. It can be very difficult for Capricorn to open up about their feelings. And when they do, they are most likely to find like one special trusted person that they can trust to understand where they're coming from and who won't see them as like a burden. And this is something with Capricorn, is that they often view their emotions and their needs as burdens that are obstacles of whatever they should be doing or what they should be feeling or should be focusing on. And so they really need to be around someone that expresses to them that your needs are worthy of being met and your feelings deserve to be heard and to be seen and to be acknowledged. And they really need someone who is going to engage their inner child. Because, like other Capricorn placements, Capricorn moons often have to grow up too fast. They have to be very responsible for a young age. They're often called the old souls of the zodiac. So it can be very difficult for them to even break down those emotional walls of responsibility and obligation and just let themselves feel free and silly and relaxed. But when they do, Capricorn moons can be outright hilarious. Some of the silliest little guys. And the thing is, they need to learn how to prioritize their comfort and their joy and their pleasure. And this is hardest for Capricorn most of all. In fact, they might have even have felt triggered when I say prioritize your comfort. It is okay. It is okay to get the nicer shoes. It is okay to get the slightly more expensive couch. You've earned it, but even if you didn't, you don't always have to earn everything, okay? You don't have to earn the right to express yourself, to feel your feelings, to have a happy day. Like, you can just have those things and you don't have to prove it to anybody that you have worked hard for it, okay? And it becomes a habit for Capricorn to deny themselves these things, especially when they're going through hard times. It is a survival mechanism for Capricorn to be like, I actually don't need the extra candy. I don't need the extra large. I don't need the special sweater. It's whatever. But then once they get out of that hard time, they really struggle to just let themselves have the thing and let themselves have the good day. And so Capricorn, find you a friend that is going to push you and encourage you to just enjoy your life the way that it is right now and to take that pleasure in the simple things, right? Also, Capricorn, similar to Virgo, can really benefit from getting out in nature, from having a garden, from taking long walks, and from having like repetitive tasks that allow you to see progress, like crochet or knitting or crafting, something that you can build upon and add a little bit to every time you sit down to work on it, will be really beneficial for your sense of ambition and accomplishment. So yeah, that's what I got for Capricorn moon. If you would like to know more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you are an Aquarius moon, then you are someone who sees your emotions as characters that appear in your reoccurring daydreams that can sometimes seem to come to life underneath your skin, which is to say that there is a sense of detachment between you and your feelings, and sometimes you can put them on and take them off, and sometimes you kind of turn them into little creatures that like to talk to each other and beef it out in order for you to process your feelings. If you've ever seen that TikTok channel where they have the little animal dolls that are like acting out little scenes and they're like yelling at each other, like that's totally Aquarius moon. Like they see like this is angry Aquarius and this is sad Aquarius and they're talking to each other. Like Aquarius has whole stories, whole worlds living inside their minds, and they also have a lot of different like imaginary selves and imaginary scenarios that help them kind of come to terms with their experiences and the way that they feel and process them without having to directly be in the moment at that point in time. And as they play with their little dolls per se and work out their feelings through the storytelling, it helps them to kind of rebuild the story of their experience in a way that is more authentic to them than the way other people are perceiving it. Because the reality is that Aquarius moon's emotions, kind of like Scorpios, are very different from what other people say that it should be. It's almost kind of like you have someone talking over your shoulder all the time saying, you should be angry about this, or you should feel this way about this, and you should want to do that. And Aquarius is like, I don't feel that way, and I don't want to do this. And every time I try to follow your advice, I feel like I'm going crazy. And so Aquarius has to learn how to detach their sense of self from other people's perceptions of them. They have to detach their identity and their perception of their body from the way other people are perceiving it, because of the way that they perceive it is just completely wrong and inaccurate to Aquarius. And Aquarius kind of has to use their brain power and their own little collections of characters to rebuild the story and take control of the narrative and be like, no, this is who I am, and this is how I feel, and this is how it went. Not the way that you said it, but the way that my character said it, okay? So Aquarius can really benefit from any sort of creative activity that allows them to externalize their inner world in a meaningful way and invites others to participate in it. So for example, with the little TikTok videos with the little animal creatures, like This is a really good example because that is you externalizing the feeling and allowing other people to see the experience the way you experienced it. And they may not have been able to see that and understand your point of view otherwise, Aquarius. So writing, journaling, any sort of like theater stuff is really good. And especially reading books, Aquarius can really get into like storybooks and story worlds in different movies and video games that allow them to see themselves how they perceive themselves as opposed to what the world says it should be. And also, Aquarius can really benefit from finding community with people of all different walks of life. Sometimes Aquarius moon can feel like super alienated or othered growing up because they feel so different from their family or from their community. So it's very important for them to make friends that are very diverse and very different and can be an external example of it's okay to feel differently and experience things differently and to see things differently, and that your own unique perspective is not just something that's allowed to exist, but something that is welcomed and accepted and desired and adds to the world in a really positive, meaningful way. So that's what I got for Aquarius moon. If you would like to hear more, go ahead and give me a follow. If you are someone who has moon in Sidereal Pisces, then you are someone who views your emotions as an overwhelming force that cannot be denied, often carrying intuitive messages from the divine, which is to say your feelings are like a big, huge tidal wave and you're standing in front of it, watching it come, and you cannot move. It's just going to crash over you, and you just have to embrace it and let it happen and feel the way that you feel. There is no escaping the Pisces emotions because they are so strong. But Pisces, great swimmer, okay? Pisces moons are great emotional processors. Similar to Cancer, they're very attuned to their feelings and they're very emotionally intuitive when it comes to other people. They're very good at understanding the needs and underlying feelings that drive people's behavior and why they act the way they do or why they do certain things. And they're very good at understanding other people's like emotional narratives and the way that other people interpret their feelings. The downside to Moon in Pisces is that they can sometimes become a bit enmeshed with other people emotionally and take on other people's feelings as their own, and then forget how to discern the difference between their feeling and the other person's feeling. And so Pisces moon is on a lifelong journey to separate and discern the difference between this is my body and my feeling and my experience and my story, and that's your body, feeling, story, experience. And the other thing that Pisces moon really needs to be self-conscious of is when you are in that enmeshment space and you are so close with the other person that it becomes difficult for you to separate and have boundaries, is that you can sometimes participate in like self-sacrificing behavior, and you can put off your own needs and feelings in order to deal with the other person's or help them deal with theirs, and then end up like neglecting yourself emotionally. And this leads to resentment and stress, and you really got to deal with that, Pisces. You got to learn how to put walls up between you and other people for your own emotional safety, because you got the big tidal wave, okay? And other people have small little waves and they don't know how to deal with it, and they're coming to you, Pisces, and they're like, help me ride the wave, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna help you, but I'm over here like this. So you just gotta learn how to clock what is yours and what is not yours. Also, Pisces, you are the type of person who wants a great playlist, who can sit there and wallow in their playlist. You're like staring outside the window, pretending you're in a music video. The Pisces moon also really benefits from artistic hobbies, creative hobbies, especially like painting and drawing, comics, storytelling, comic books, novellas, TV shows. They really like the Sailor Moon type of stuff, the magical girl type of stories. And they also really benefit from like swimming and water related activities similar to Scorpio. Just being near a body of water can be super calming to Pisces. And any sort of crafts or artistic work where they can work with water is really good for them. And another thing I would recommend for Pisces moon is keeping pets, to keep a cute little guy around, to keep you present in the world around you. Because Pisces can sometimes really get lost inside their own mind and inside their own emotions. Similar to Aquarius, they tend to create like entire inner worlds inside their mind with little characters that are rebuilding the story in their head. And sometimes they like that inner world more than they do the real world. And so having a garden and plants and pets and trusted people around to bring you back into reality, to focus on the real world sometimes is super beneficial to Pisces moons. Yeah, otherwise Pisces moons can be super sweet, super caring, super compassionate, sometimes to their own detriment. You have to keep a bit of a lid on your empathy. Not everyone deserves the sweetest, best part to be Pisces. You gotta keep some of that for yourself. But yeah, that's what I got for Pisces moon. If you like that, go ahead and give me a follow. Alright, so that is every moon sign, guys. I hope you guys liked it. Go ahead and leave me a like, a comment, a subscribe, yada yada. Let me know what you think, and go ahead and let me know what video you would like me to do next. We could do Mars, we could do Jupiter, we could do Mercury, we could do anything. We could do anything. Let me know, okay? See you later, bye!